think I'm going to call this one Under Hypnosis. So, I guess after Anal Eating Mummy God put this entire plan together, uh, every fucking loser in their church that has the ability to spray you in the face with the LSD tetralead mix and hypnotize you basically showed up to Papa John's, or was already at Papa John's with self-interest. So, whatever the deal was I made with Anal Eating Mummy God, I think originally I was actually supposed to turn in everybody. If I guess if I went down there, I did the thing. You called in the bomb threat and punched an officer, and went to court. I would have got to turn everybody in the Epstein case. Well, Kevin didn't like that. He's a kid I worked with. So he did it. He hit me with the LSD and tetralead because his mother's on the Epstein list, allegedly. And he didn't want her to go to prison. So he was like, I'm sorry, I can't let you, I can't let you do that, Bobby. And basically, he hypnotized me to be terrified and confused when dealing with police officers. And that was kind of funny because when I was in Ackworth, even though I had been threatened multiple times by police officers, I actually never felt nervous around them. And it's kind of funny because I realize now, even when I was driving around down here, I passed a police officer and I suddenly kind of like seized up. And I realize now that's a hypnotic suggestion he put in my head because he didn't want me to get the Epstein thing. He instead explained that if I turn myself in late and I go to prison, that his mother doesn't have to go to prison. To which I responded to him in my suggestive state, because that's what you're in. Once you get hit with the tetralead and LSD, you're in the suggestive state. I said, man, it's a good thing your mom actually loves you, and she doesn't actually give, and the truth is she doesn't actually give a shit about you, and she would never do what you're doing right now to help her. You're really putting it all on the line, buddy. And I remember Kevin just froze, and I was like, it's not like your family just rejects you and thinks you're autistic and useless. And there was this awkward stare, but we're not even done with that, because even my sister's current boyfriend, who's a Catholic, so I guess Christians and Catholic handshake on one thing. Their church leaders can basically do whatever they want, and their godlike powers come from tetralead and LSD, because he turned up. This isn't a joke. Because remember, he's the same guy that on the phone accused me of being a virtue signaler, a liar, and a weak person, and I'm a coward and I won't go to prison for doing all these horrible things that the Memphis made me do. And I think I need to just admit that maybe it's better that Blondie steal my glory. Because honestly, I just want the Memphis dead. Like, somebody helps you and you do that to them? No, I don't care. And the thing with these people, I continuously remember just because you're nice to me doesn't mean I have to be nice to you. How about a bullet to the head? How's that sound? Like, you want to live in that world? You want to live in that? Whatever, man. But who cares? I mean, they're all about it until, they come home and their houses is burning and their kids are screaming at the windows and you're just standing there and watching and why didn't you help my kids? I don't have to help you. Whatever, man. Fantasies. But he came, and this was funny because he was like, oh, I'm not supposed to be here. But if you turn yourself in, nothing bad is going to happen to you. After you call in the bomb threat, you punch the officer, you talk to the judge, nothing bad is going to happen to you, Bobby. Nothing bad is going to happen. There's going to be no prison. They're not going to put you in prison. You're not going to go to prison for any of the bad things. The entire thing is rigged, and he went on an entire thing about how everything, that if I turn myself in, everything won't be my fault. It'll be Anal Eating Mummy God's fault or somebody else's fault, and they're not going to put me in prison. All I have to do is just trust that the thing works and there's nothing to be afraid of and I'm not going to get hurt and nothing bad is going to happen. They just want to see that I can stand up for myself. And that was funny. because as he was hypnotizing me with this, Kevin's original hypnosis came through, and I told him everybody just wants to hurt me. Everybody just wants to hurt me because I was hypnotized into believing that by Kevin. Because Kevin wants to protect his mommy. And Kevin, your mom's a piece of shit if she's on the Epstein list. If it was me in this church, I would order you to shoot her on the head in principle alone. But it's not me. But, yeah, so I kept replying to my sister's dumbass boyfriend. Everybody just wants to hurt me. And then he was like, no, Bobby, you're a good person. You're a good person. And if you do it, nobody's going to hurt you. Nothing bad is going to happen. You just got to do it and be okay with it. And it was funny because it was I don't know what happens in hypnosis when you get two auto-suggestions that are just contradictory. Well, anyways, that loser leaves after getting pissed at me because he can't convince me to do anything because Kevin had already hypnotized me first. The David dude I was working with hypnotized me also because he had concerns about people on the Epstein files. But these guys are motherfuckers because they're like, the working class is jealous of me. But they're millionaires and they're jealous of the billionaire class. Yeah, and they want to destroy the billionaires because they're jealous of them. Isn't it funny how the stacking order works? I remember George Carlin talked about it. He's like, what's there for the billionaires? The millionaires exist to scare the billionaires. The people who make a couple $1,000s a year are there to scare the millionaires, and the working class that makes less than the people who make like $400,000 a year are there to scare those people, and the hobo is there to scare the poorest of the poor. When you have jack shit, but you live in a car, you see a hobo, and you're like, I'm still doing better than him. Welcome to the caste system, buddy. Yeah, the class war's real. And even the people in the class war don't even know they're in the class war. And this was a hypnosis from Blondie, who basically was explaining that he found out when he put me under about my church. He found out about Mary, and just like the guy, Jose, who started this church, who wanted to replace Jesus, he knew he had to replace me because there's no way in the world, and he literally hypnotized this into my mind, there's no way in the world I could have the charisma, skills, and abilities to lead a church. I simply didn't have it. And it's funny that the cinema guys did a video on the monsters, and they're like, you don't have it, which was literally fucking Blondie's hypnosis to me. You don't have it. I have it. I was born with it. And he went on a thing talking about if I did my church, it would just ruin everything for everyone. And it was so important that he get it. And this is the thing, is I think it is that shit I said about Tyler Oliveira just tells you tell him an idea, he steals it, and he tells you it's a bad idea. I think Blondie knows my church will work, and that's why he, once again, used his hypnosis powers to cheat. And Blondie in particular is a motherfucker, because literally told Anal Eating Mummy God he wouldn't do this, and then he went and did it anyways, because I guess as a walking inferiority complex that's just down with being an inferiority complex, these guys can't, it's all a facade, it's all a mask. Right now, they just go, oh, he's lying, I didn't do that. No, they did that. Okay. But he was explaining that the church has to go a certain way. That if I implemented my church the way it would, the millionaires would fade out of existence. Everybody would want to join. It has to be done in a way, and he basically alluded to Anal Eating Mummy Church 2.0. Anal Eating Mummy Church with a couple of my ideas mixed in. Dude, I remember, when he was giving me this, when I was in the suggestive state, I imagined, it's the thing you do. You imagine a golden light coming into your head and it enables you to see shit. And I saw it. I guess his future, what's going on in his head, is he's this big, glorious church leader. He's a major YouTuber like Mr. Beast. He has Mary Bowberry. He's winning. But then, in his reality, it's funny because it's a minuscule amount of people. He never actually gets that big. But it's enough for a narcissistic supply. and that's what he's going after. He starts running into wife problems because he runs into, like, he gets other women that are super popular on social media, like Mary Bowberry, and he loves the attention, and he's so fucking envious of it that they're getting. And then they start getting mad at one another, and they start getting pissed about the attention. Who gets the attention? Who wants the attention? You know, it's all projection. You're doing this for attention. Like, whatever, man. So he shows me his church, but then his church is funny because not even a couple years after he launches it, it literally morphs into the authoritarian fascist style anal eating mummy church 2.0. All the socialist structures, all the ideas I came up with get gutted because Blondie needs more money to impress people who don't give a fuck about him. One of the things he does is Mary Bowberry wanted a yacht, and he purchases a yacht for her. And the other wives then want yachts. So he's like, I'm rich, you know, and he purchases them yachts. And he can't afford it. He's like my dad. He's literally like my dad. He can't afford it. And then instead of just admitting that, he starts butchering programs in the socialist church to fill his own wallets, and then starts telling everybody you're greedy, you're selfish, you're entitled, and it's all projection. It's all projection. And the entire thing starts going bad, and in that timeline, what I saw was no matter what, at some point, people get so pissed at Blondie, they shoot him in the head. And that's not me ranting and raving. There's some fire happens in San Francisco, I guess in the late future, probably because of global warming. Blondie treats it like a joke. Everybody treats it like a joke. And there's a reddish orange mist washing over the city. Blondie's walking down it, and some guy, some hobo loser, walking in a back alley has a gun and walks out and shoots Blondie in the head and takes his Rolex. Yeah. Good luck to you, Blondie. Some righteous hero blows his head off. But Blondie has a dipshit kid that's as equally fucked up and as weird as him. And Blondie explains to me during this conversation, I said that I hated inferiority complexes. They were inherently abusive and they beat their wives. To which Blondie said, that's good, because you're inferiority complex, and that means you should never have a wife, you should never have kids, you should never have any of these things. And this is a thing about my inferiority complex. It's kind of funny that he had to use the LSD and tetraled shit to actually program this into my mind, which makes me wonder if any of this is real at all. If this is all fistition from losers who have to project their loserness onto you. Once again, they're not actually good at reading you. So if Stu's like, he has this trait and he's this, okay, and then he comes to you at night, breaks into your house, sprays you in the face with the tetraled and LSD, and then hypnotizes you into having it, he's right. Once again, it's all fistition. Like I said, these are the last people on the planet that needed to learn that skill, okay? Because all they do is abuse it. They don't care how destructive it is to your psychology. It's all about how they look. I did see this really funny guy, though. He learns how to use a crop duster plane, and he flies over Utah with some dangerous-ass chemicals, and he ends up crashing it into a building. But he basically poisons over half of Utah during the climate crisis with the same glyphosate that Donald Trump just re-legalized. He literally poisons like most of Utah, and it's literally to spite these people. So they all get sick. Whatever. Trust me, some of these things are fantasies. These are things that could happen, might happen. Who knows? Anyways, Kevin and David basically used the hypnosis shit to make sure that I didn't act until it was too late and I got a prison sentence. Because they didn't want their parents to go to prison because they're in the Epstein files. Yeah. And these guys, because they believe in the Ubermensch, but they're also jealous of the ultra-rich. It doesn't matter how big how big you are. There's always somebody bigger. It doesn't matter how good you are. There's always somebody better. Okay. Whatever. Get rid of the billionaire so Blondie doesn't have to feel that desperate insecurity, right? And this kind of goes down the line of these people and whatever, dude. Whatever anal eating. I guess when I originally called the FBI to turn myself in for hiring Luigi Mangione, which is when I should have gotten to go to prison or whatever, and this church would have lost its tax exempt status. Because I had the I had a guy that saw the video. I repeated, and the police refused to arrest me. And once again, like, this feeds into that stuff. You need to be assertive. You need to be aggressive. How exactly do I force an officer to arrest me for hiring Luigi Mangione? But this turned this around, and this feeds into Anal Eating Mummy God. And I remember this other guy, good old Gavin, telling me that he was going to do something, and all I had to do was go to a police station and send a fax. And then this guy telling me he's not going to let me send that fax. And I guess that happened because I went down to the police station over here to send a fax on this missing persons case that I believed I knew stuff about. And the officer there was just like, we don't have a fax machine. You can go away. I was, okay. And I mean, once again, more assertive. If they don't have a fax machine, what am I supposed to do? Start punching him in the face until he goes and buys a fax machine? Whatever, man. But I had this conversation with Anal Eating Mummy God, and he was like, well, we want you to be assertive, and we want you to stand up for yourself, and I was like, once again, you poisoned me with aluminum, we want you to be assertive. You need to pick. Do you want me to be a coward, or do you want me to be aggressive? You need to fucking pick. Okay? You don't get it both ways, you dumb bastard. But whatever. So, anyways, yeah. Anal Eating Mummy God went on a thing, explaining to me that these guys are going to be hard to deal with, and you're going to have to get hard and learn how to deal with them. You're going to have to, and I was, Anal Eating Mummy God, I was like, have you ever heard about the double down proposition? I was like, Republicans are guilty of this. Republicans will do something stupid, and then instead of admitting they're wrong, because admitting they're wrong is the worst thing on the planet, like a 2-year-old, they double down, go harder, double down, go harder. And I was like, so you're going to send some people out, right, to check and see if I can be assertive. How do they measure how assertive I have to be on them? And I was like, and what are the metrics on that? And when do they stop resisting? Because here's the funny thing about human nature, and you can try this on somebody. Walk over to somebody, grab their arm, and start pulling it away from them, and just note that as you're pulling away, resistance, they start pulling back. Okay? And then explain to me how you want to gauge this response that is ornately built into the human mind to resist. So, and I got into this thing because I have seen it 100 times when I was in high school. Dumb bastard bullies who are mostly Christian going, I'm trying to teach him a lesson. I'm going to bully him until he does a mass shooting in the school. Good. You are teaching them a lesson. Because your methods are bad and stupid, and that's why they end with bad, stupid results. This is what happens when you don't do real psychology. You do guerrilla psychology. But we spoke about the resistance thing, and I was like, at what point do they surrender to me? I was like, because if this turns into you going, you need to be more assertive, Bob, and I deck that motherfucker, and then he punches me back, and then I punch him, and then he punches me, and then I get him in a guillotine and I choke him to death, I was like, is that standing up for myself? And he was like, you don't have to kill anybody. And I think I do, because this is the assertive this is the double down assertive logic. And he is Elite Mummy God is the most guilty, the stupid motherfucker of this, because he literally said America was still on the gold standard when we haven't been on the gold standard since fucking Nixon. And then he had every dumb bastard in his church double down and say that we're still on the gold standard. We're still on the gold standard. Double down, everybody, double down. This is what stupidity fucking looks like. This is what a destructive, dumb future looks like. But whatever. One thing I've gotta wonder is, I remember Blondie going, the reason I took your Middle East money, the millions of dollars the brown people gave you, is because you weren't assertive enough with me when I was retarded on heavy metals and barely functioning. It wouldn't surprise me if I had only 2 neurons. Okay? I can tell you right fucking now, if Blondie fucking tried that shit, I would have fucking killed him. Okay? There wouldn't have been a conversation, we wouldn't be doing these videos, I'd be in prison, he'd be fucking dead. Okay? Like, but this is the thing I'm talking about, like right here. And I would even argue all that shit is a falsehood. Because once again, in Ackworth, no you can't do that, Stu, go away. Spooky fingers, I did it 100 fucking times. Okay, and you guys go, you need to stand up for yourself. I think what I need to do is what Anal Eating Mummy God was explaining to me about the Unabomber. He was like, he's a coward. He ran and hid somewhere just like their president does. He hides out there in the desert and sends his minions out to kill you because he doesn't fucking like you. He is no different than the Unabomber. That is why he didn't like the Unabomber, because of fucking Carl Jung's whole, it's all projection. You're gonna hate the Unabomber because he thinks like you. He blows you up from a safe place. Just how you guys murder people and then you go and hide. Your leader goes and hides in a safe place. What you don't like is when people use the same thing on you. And we got into the conversation about nukes. And then Anal Eating Mummy God was like, nukes aren't the same thing. They are the same thing. You're sending something out while you stay safe in America. I was like, if you want to go, oh, being a man means standing up for yourself, facing the enemy face to face, don't use nukes. Stop poisoning people, because that's not you facing them face to face. That's you being a bastard. Why don't you be a man? Let's see how well this goes if you just use brute force and no poisoning or any of this other things. Let's see how lucky you feel, and we'll see how many mass shootings start busting out in America about it, because everybody's thinking like a goddamn baboon. I think my anger in this is justified because it is a injustice logic, and it is a stupid man's argument. The entire thing is a stupid man's argument. But I will say this. The entire time I've been going off on the cinema guys or anybody that's been encouraging me, I finally understand exactly why I do that. I don't want to face my own inferiority. The truth is these people are right. I don't have it. Their arbitrary standard of being elite